Joe Biden, Biden's son, Oleksiy Goncharuk,
they'll be sacrificed for the short-term rescue of the presidential rating.
А він тобі що?
А він мені такий, я за нього не голосував.
Cheers to that.
Hello world, this is Kyiv, not Kiev on the line.
My name is Polina and this is my colleague Tanya Haiduk.
And we are here to tell you the top news from Ukraine for the week.
And we already have a very good tradition to start with you subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking on the bell right in the top of the page to follow the notifications.
Yeah, let's get down to business.
But let's drink first.
Sure thing. Right after Super Tuesday in the US, here it came Super Wednesday in Ukraine.
A day that may change a lot for the country.
Or may not change a thing.
Major shift in Ukraine's administration.
A reboot of Ukrainian cabinet of ministers.
Okay, we're talking about the fact that yesterday on March 4, Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelenskyy called for an emergency parliamentary meeting to replace Prime Minister Oleksiy Goncharuk as well as some members of the cabinet of ministers. Let's welcome the freshmen on board.
But before we start introducing new faces, some of which look pretty familiar, let's try to understand what stands behind the cabinet shakeup.
Zelenskyy's political party, as well as the president himself, live in the expectations of victories that should be quick and easy. But who would tell them that the work of the government is not about quick results, but it is about a slow but steady implementation of the complex and lengthy reforms? Yeah?
Oleksiy Goncharuk and his cabinet are now to be blamed for the falling industrial output, a decline in exports due to the national currency persistent appreciation, and low budget revenues. Therefore, they will be sacrificed for the short-term rescue of the presidential rating.
But I sincerely doubt that replacing new faces with the newer ones is a solution, no? However, to a point, if this is a person that is dependent on the president's approval, that is blindly following the general political line, better results shouldn't be expected, I think.
So, who are these people forming the new cabinet?
Well, we don't have much time to tell you about all of those people, but we'll introduce you some of them. It's important to say that the new people came to the offices of ministries of economic development and trade, energy and environmental production, agriculture, education and science, health, social policy, defense, finance, veterans affairs, temporarily occupied territories, and interior displaced persons.
Moreover, the brand new position is also established, Vice Prime Minister for Defense and Industrial Complex. And the new Vice Prime Minister is Oleg Korostelyov. For long, he was the CEO of the State Kyiv Construction Bureau Luch, that deals with the development of monitoring systems or the spatial aviation equipment.
And the new Prime Minister is?
And the new Prime Minister is Denis Shmyhal. Cheers to that. Shmyhal's profile includes working for energy company DTAG, owned by oligarch Rinat Akhmetov. In June 2019, he was appointed governor of Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast. He was dismissed in February and appointed deputy prime minister and minister of regional development. Now Denis Shmyhal is supposed to be a top guy in the Ukrainian politics, considering that we live in parliamentary presidential republic. But will he?
Another appointment we would like to attract your attention to is Igor Umansky.
I don't know, new face.
Umansky is expected to replace Oksana Markarova on the position of the finance ministry. What we know about him from the open resources is that he has been a career government official since 1998, serving in both the economy and finance ministries on the top positions, so he's really experienced.
Yeah, and what we know from the insiders who prefer to stay anonymous is that Umansky is far from being an IMF supporter, because it's all about getting into the dependence on evil IFIs controlled by Soros and reptilians and things of this kind. Not the best news about the new appointment, considering how much needed is a new cooperation program with the IMF.
There is no policy shift. The reform agenda is going on forward, including the IMF program. That is a person close to Mr. Zelenskyy said about the government reshuffles to the Financial Times.
Oh, let's hope so.
And to finish with the optimistic tone, Dmytro Kuleba is a new Ukraine's foreign minister. He is a career diplomat and he has been Ukraine's permanent representative to the Council of Europe since 2016. Kuleba was the deputy prime minister on European and Euro-Atlantic integration in Honcharuk's cabinet. Now he continues this position with the post of the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
And you know what? I'm pretty happy about this appointment, as the MFA under Prystaiko has significantly lost its subjectivity in foreign policy making to the presidential office and president's aide, currently Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak. I sincerely hope that Dmytro Kuleba will be good at explaining to a president why it is important to have strong foreign ministry instead of the shaky tracks of back-channel negotiations.
By the way, Dmytro Kuleba is the graduate of the Institute of International Relations for your study. So we'll keep monitoring the cabinet reshuffle and we'll be very pleased to tell you about the most intriguing details in our next episodes. Stay tuned.
Traditionally, we're looking at what the world media are writing about us and giving the Ukrainian point of view on that. So
here it is, Joe Biden. The Washington Post read, Ukraine investigations open case into Joe Biden's role in firing of top prosecutor. What that means? That means that the Ukrainian State Bureau of Investigations launched a probe into alleged pressure by then Vice President Joe Biden that led to the dismissal of the country's prosecutor general in 2016. That probe was launched in response to a court order after an appeal for action by Viktor Shokin, that very prosecutor general.
Stop. Isn't it the same investigation President Trump asked President Zelenskyy for?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I wouldn't say that he asked for this, but well, I think that he chose the wrong wording and that led to Trump's impeachment proceedings.
Anyway, now you say that the investigation case was open, right?
Yeah, although the case mentioned only the US citizen and does not refer to Biden by name, Shokin claims that he was pushed out by Biden because he wanted to investigate the lucrative role that Biden's son, Hunter, was playing on the board of the Ukrainian energy company named Burisma.
As far as I remember, Biden urged Ukraine authorities to sack Shokin, citing his failure to act against corruption. The same concerns were shared by the other Western nations.
Well, you're right, but what makes me worry is that Shokin became that key figure in Trump's efforts to exert pressure over Zelenskyy to carry out the investigations into Biden, as well as the fact that the SBI is actually the state body that is fully controlled by the president. Doesn't it seem to you that the quid pro quo story is not over?
No, and I'll tell you and our audience why. According to the Ukrainian legislation, anyone can go to court and address the SBI to open a case. In case the court approves, the SBI is illegally required to do so, even despite the officials think there isn't enough evidence.
Well, you know, maybe, but I hope that if or when or after Biden becomes the next US president, Ukraine will not welcome him with the subpoena when he comes to Ukraine for an official visit. Andriy Yermak, head of the office of Ukraine's president, met with Dmitry Kozak, deputy head of Russia's presidential administration. The meeting was held in Minsk, and the two discussed the prisoner swap in all-for-all format that was agreed by the Normandy format leaders at the meeting in Paris in December 2019. During the meeting, Yermak indicated his strong intention to conduct the next swap in March.
The IMF experts had a meeting with President Zelenskyy. They met to discuss the so-called anti-Kolomoisky law. Igor Kolomoisky is a notorious oligarch who brought the largest bank in the country, the private bank, almost to bankruptcy. The state was forced to nationalize it and capitalize it for more than $5.5 billion. Now the oligarch is trying to challenge the nationalization and is claiming for the multi-billion-dollar compensation. a key IMF condition, adoption of bank solvency legislation that will prevent former owners of banks closed or nationalized as part of the cleanup of the sector from reclaiming the businesses or seeking compensation. This is a key IMF condition for the next tranche to Ukraine, but the government seems to be hesitating, and it generally seems like the Ukrainian interests are of bigger importance to the IMF rather than to the government.
The first case of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 has been confirmed in Ukraine, as reported by the Ukrainian Deputy Health Minister. The man had just come from Italy back to Chernivtsi, western Ukraine. The Health Ministry immediately started working with the people with whom the man was in contact.
The US Department of Defense has signed a new contract for production of Javelin anti-tank missile systems for partner countries, including Ukraine. The representatives of the Ukrainian government, Dmytro Kuleba in particular, thanked our friends, the USA, for keeping our strategic partnership unwavering.
Among the cultural news from Ukraine that deserve your attention is Cherkasy, the war drama that tells the story of the Ukrainian minesweeper ship that was the only one to resist during Russia's annexation of Crimea in March 2014. Of that ship that was once described by Reuters that it's the Ukrainians' last Crimean ship.
Indeed, Cherkasy is among the new Ukrainian patriotic films about the military that feels very true. The film follows the Cherkasy ship returning from training with Bulgarians to its base in the Donoslav Bay in Crimea. And at that time, the port was already lost to the Russian army, and all the other Ukrainian vessels surrendered, one after another, after being blocked.
Only Cherkasy resisted. They were fighting the armed Russia's special forces for 19 days with horse and water only. For its true picture, the film got an ovation at the Odessa International Festival, yeah.
Cherkasy became a debut for director Timur Yashchenko. Such a truthful picture was achieved with the consultancies of the captain of the original ship, as well as the real ships and personnel provided by the Ukrainian Navy to fill in natural sea conditions.
Kyiv, not Kyiv, highly recommends. The film is very stylish and rather provocative, so if you are now choosing a film to watch, you should try Cherkasy. And what is especially dear to us is to get your requests or your suggestions to cover these or those Ukrainian news or topic.
Keep doing that, please, because it helps us a lot to stay more focused on what's important for you.
For example, whenever you hear any news about Ukraine or etc., please write down in the comments to this video or to another video and we will discuss it.
Yeah, and we'll gladly explain what is happening in Ukraine from the Ukrainian national perspective.
That was Tetiana and Polina, straight from
Kyiv,
not Kiev. Thank you for watching us today. From Ukraine with love.
Бо вже розікрали країну. Все, нема промисловості. Треба цілого віце-прем'єра, щоб з'явилося.
Ти кажеш, що при Порошенку було краще?
Коронавірусу при Порошенку не було.
Ага, були там свинарчуки, Портнови, там
добре, що Володимир Коломойський. Ой, Боже мій, що ти цей? Давай краще.
Жінок треба в раду.
Так? Да, жінок треба в раду.
Що я обльопалась. Здрасте.
Ну все, можна нас більше не знімати.